Okay, I realized that I cut that off. I meant to say don't go anywhere. Hope everybody heard it. Like I said, I'm setting up the screen. So let me pause it again while I do this. Okay, so I think you should have it. You should be able to see my screen. Of course, this is LDR 440, leading change course, prerequisite of LDR 300. I maintain that you should keep that text. It's the DAFT text. I think we're on edition 8. Um, sorry, I had to hydrate there a little bit. The Both these texts are very good. DAFT text is superb for overall basic leadership. Some you'll use time and again, I assure you. This one's great because it really does give you insight into how to lead, um, and as the book implies or states on the cover, manage organizational change. There's a lot more to it than just the Connors 8-step. The first step, famously um, stated by, I think, Chief of Staff to President Clinton back in the day, Rahm Emanuel, that shouldn't let a good crisis go to waste. In other words, step one of the Connors 8-step is to create a sense of urgency. And nothing creates a sense of urgency than a crisis. And once you've got those conditions, you can enact change a little bit easier, faster, because it breaks a lot of barriers and resistance down. Now, that seems a cynic view, maybe a little bit too politically astute for some. Quite frankly, I would agree. I think it is very cynical, but it's also one you watch all the time. Just look at our politicians. It's always a crisis when something gets enacted. Anyway, all right. Well, let me do this. Let me cover just a couple things real fast, and then I'll wait and see if anybody decides to join. What do we have this week? We're in uh, week 6 already, huh? Yes, week 6. I made an error on another post. I'm gonna pause this and go back and fix that error and hold up and hold tight. All right, so I resumed recording. It's 7:09, so I lost a few minutes there time, but I don't plan on going long here tonight. Nothing really amazing to share. I just want to make sure that I corrected some things and then cover a couple things. So week 6, you've got a lot to do this week. Okay, so you're to read chapter 7 and 8, which is change communication strategies, which is good. Again, getting into your image of change is how you view communication, and there's some ins and outs of that. And you get into resistance to change, which is a great chapter of what causes people to resist. Okay, weekly forum due tomorrow night, and then minimum 2 postings on other students' contributions by Friday. That will remain. Quiz opens tomorrow at noon. Please have done before 1500 on Sunday. Your personal change paper is due on Sunday. I've sent you the rubric. You have all the information, so there shouldn't be any major questions on what's expected. All right, discussion forums. Great questions here. Okay. Um, Again, question 1 reminds you of what your image was. I've posted that. You should already know that, but most of you chose director / coach, which is pretty typical for these courses. Okay. And then some of you had some outliers, not outliers, but some different responses, which is fine. It's the way you saw it, and you know you better than anybody. So, I encourage you on that. Keep going. Okay. All right. You should consider the text indicates there's an issue in communicating to a level of getting buy-in, which means participation in that change, as opposed to the getting the word out, just providing information. Okay, do you understand the difference in that communication? I mean, it's critical. Okay, we're not just announcing change, we need to get the buy-in. Okay, so we need to be very careful how we communicate that. Okay, and that's what this chapter is all about, and I think you'll really like it. So I want you to go in there, review table 7.1. I want you to note the focus of communication and determine if that still applies. Okay. Yes or no? Does it still apply to you? Okay. And then question 2, think of a person who faced a major, significant life impacting change or work at school. And then identify as many reasons for resistance that you can as it related to the example you used. Okay. There are 14 reasons for resistance. Minimum, identify 3 if you can. Okay, and for each of those that you identify, list an action that could have been taken or was taken to reduce the source of resistance. Okay, so again, find an example. Go to that section of the text as it 254 to page 261. Identify the 14 reasons. Okay, and of those, take 3 minimum, and then apply them to your example. Okay, and then now that you've identified the type of resistance, what is an action that was taken or could have been taken to help minimize that resistance? Okay. All right. Table 8.4, table 8.5 lists possible actions that can be taken. So this is really good stuff. I mean, this starts getting into the meat of change and of leadership. And it's one thing to academically read, oh yeah, nod your head. It's quite different to be able to apply it in situations. Okay, that's why case studies are so important. But in the long view, you want to be able to apply, be able to practice what is put out there in the form of what you're learning. So good stuff. Okay. Again, your quiz will be the norm. It opens at noon on Wednesday, and it'll cover chapters 7 and 8. 45 minutes. You got one attempt. All right. Shouldn't be any issues there. Personal change project. Nothing new there. Okay. Personal change you want to make. Vision, forces driving, barriers, personal strengths. Okay. Discuss why you've resisted this change. Okay. You should be pulling this right out of chapter 8 of your text. Okay. The 14 resistance to change that I just mentioned. Okay. So do that. Use your text here. Okay. In this whole thing. Okay. You've got your text talked about vision, right? We covered that in a question. Your text talks about drivers of change. Your text talks about barriers to change. Self-assess. What are your strengths and weaknesses as it relates to change? Okay. It's a weakness because I'm addicted to this. So it's going to be very difficult to change. Perfect. Okay. Why are you resistant? Why are you resisting? Because it hurts. An addiction, physically and mentally hurts when you try to end that addiction. Okay. What is your strategy? Again, your text will show you and tell you strategy for accomplishing change. Okay. That could be Cotter's 8 steps, any of the N step models. Okay. And then again, if you are, if your change image is director and you tell me strategy for accomplished change is Cotter's 8 steps, you nailed it. Okay. Because Cotter's 8 step model is designed within the framework of a director image of change. Okay. But if you identify or image is one of a nurturer, then you should not be using Cotter's 8 steps. Okay. There should be a different strategy to use. And again, those are found in your text. Okay. Excuse me. Not trying to make this difficult. This is all very simple. It's straight out of the text. Okay. So just, this is what you're here to study. Okay. And this is good stuff. Get this down and things are, it'll be so much easier for you. All right. And then finally, how will you influence others to support the change? Okay. How do you get people to support the change? Changing who I hang out with may be an answer to that. Okay. If people around me enable that addiction, then how I will influence others to support the change would be to, in this regard, stop hanging out with those that enabled the addiction. Choose different company. Okay, that could be an answer right there. All right. I look forward to reading what you come up with. Okay. All 8 points need to be in your paper. All right. Nobody has dialed in. So let me do this. Let's go. Let me show you what you all pulled up as image of change and what you all indicated that you were going to write on. I should, well, let me just go to the file. My computer's running a little slow here. Very slow. All right, we'll just hang out here for a minute. Let me get another sip here of water. Things should not be running that slow. All right, well, let's do this. I'm not sure why we're having such an issue. I must be running something in the background. It just had some updates, so that's probably what it is. All right. Again, just waiting for it to catch up to me. All right. So I'm going to change the share and there we go. And so you should see the paper topics. This is for your week 7 paper, your organizational change. As you can see, everybody but a couple of you, let me know what you're going to write on. So I'm assuming you're still tracking. Nobody's indicated any issues. Okay. All right. This is what I was talking about. This is where, again, we're talking about change image. And here's your name and what you indicated to me. This upper left-hand corner is just a breakout of the class. As you can see, the majority were director and coach. All right. Then a couple of you, navigator, caretaker, nurturer, no issues here. This is fairly typical of previous previous classes. All right. The key to that is that go back to your table, which I put over here in the two files to the right. Okay. The first one indicates to you in the colors, indicates to you where you find those changes there within, chapters 9, 10, or not in the book. Okay. In other words, the caretaker or nurturer is part of organizational theory, which has been out for many, many times, many years. Organizational theory essentially describes change as a river, and you were really just going to be along for the ride. And the leadership is how you navigate others through that change. Okay, hence the caretaking and nurturer terms. All right, organizational change is a new dynamic, relatively new, and it's found in chapters 9 and 10. And then that file in the lower right hand corner breaks it out even further. In other words, organizational development approach and the sense making approach for coach and interpreter are in chapter 9, and the change management approach and the processual approach, director navigator, in chapter 10. Okay. So next week, you're going to really dive into your change image a little bit more as a whole and as it relates to the text. Okay. All right. So again, good stuff here. All right. Dive into it. Okay. Let's pull our screen back up. Again, week 6. And let's go back to our home. Little house is clever. Okay, let me shut down these other files. And maybe that'll cause my computer to run a little better. All right, those are shut down. Those are shut down. All right, we're screen sharing still. Okay. So week 6, obviously paper due this Sunday by 23:59. And then we'll have our week 7 next week. Again, we'll have our forum. We'll have our quiz, and then your organizational paper is due. Okay. All right. Well, I got 25 minutes after. Nobody joined, so I'm going to shut this down early tonight. 5 minutes early, not that bad. Appreciate everybody's time and attention. Hope you all have a very good week. Happy Thanksgiving. Make sure you work through what you have to be thankful for and blessed with. And I hope it's an overabundance like has been provided to me, and I thank the Lord for it. I'm thankful for you all, for your time and attention and your effort. You all are doing very good. Keep at it. I encourage you on that. And we'll talk later. All right, at some point, we're going to end this. All right, goodbye.